Hello and welcome to the Buddy Martin Show on a Thursday night. The Buddy Martin Show and podcast coming up. The mystery guest is in the house.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ? I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Well, good evening. Let me put it up right now. We have a mystery guest in the house. I'm going to call him right this minute, and we'll get him up on the program. Let me just give you a little bit of a preview, and here is who it is. You remember this guy? The Ackerman. Ack is back. Coming direct from Jackson, Mississippi with some news, and followed by, we will have, after him, Kassidy Hill from Inside Gators, and also Scott Carter from University of Florida will join us as well. So we've got a full night ahead of us. We're going to try to get right to it with Brady right now and see what he is up to these days out at Jackson State. We've been missing Brady, and he returns to the program. The big sign is up. The picture is up. This is how he looked when he was younger on the sideline. He got the microphone in his hand. He's got the Ack attack going. The Ack is back. Brady Ackerman, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me okay, buddy?
Hearing you great. Your Skype's not working tonight, but you're looking good on screen anyway, buddy. How are you?
Well, first of all, I'm glad that you put up a picture of me from like 10 years ago.
We did,
because I've
yes.
aged a lot.
Uh-huh.
You go through a college football season, and it's 4 a.m. to 11 p.m. every night. Bad food, not a lot of sleep, not a lot of exercise. And so I'm looking forward to after recruiting, get back in shape. So I'm glad you put up a good picture for me.
Brady, when I last left you, last show we did was like week 1 or 2, I think, of the season, and you kind of disappeared because you had work to do, and you went out there sort of a run through to see how it went, and apparently it's worked out quite well.
It has. We I came out here as when I first started to come out here, it was going to be all field coach as an analyst, offensive analyst. And then I got promoted to inside receiver coach because some things transpired. And, we had some turmoil during the year. We had some change. Our head coach was fired. Our offense coordinator left to go coach in the AAFL. And so we had to deal with some certain things. But now the defensive coordinator who was on the interim the second half of the season, we did a great job coming down the stretch. He gets the job, which is great. And he's going to let me be the co-offensive coordinator. Now we're going to hire another guy to come in and, work with the offense along with me, buddy. But we had a first non-losing season since 2013. And you say that knowing we played Southern Miss, which is a loss. So we really had a winning season. We had one game canceled. The last game of the year, we had a chance to win the conference, the division championship, and we just couldn't get it done. So I'm excited because the new staff, me and Sleepy Robinson, who played at Mississippi State, is the running back coach. We're the only offensive coaches being held over, and I'm getting promoted. I came here 6 months ago just to be here for 6 months, buddy. I came here to get some experience, to get my name back in it, to maybe get an off-field job at Washington State or SMU or North Texas. And now I'm going to be the co-offensive coordinator going into the spring. So it's been a pretty quick rise. I've been very blessed, and I'm excited about recruiting season and what's coming up in the spring.
great to hear, and I know how badly you wanted to get back in coaching, and you're back in now. We've only got a couple of minutes, but thanks for spending the time. I know you're out recruiting. Your son, by the way, Brendan, is still playing for the Gators. Yep. He had surgery, and I know you've been down to Gainesville and visited a little bit with Coach Mullen and have a little bit of information. And what can you tell us about what's happening there in Gainesville? What a year, huh?
Yeah, it was well. It's interesting. If I'd have told you at the beginning of the year it'd be a great year for Florida and then lose at home to Kentucky and Missouri, you'd tell me I was crazy. But home field doesn't matter as much anymore because there's so much parity in college football. But it's the quality of your wins more than the quality of your losses. And, I went out to practice. I came home for Thanksgiving, got a chance to spend a week with my kids and my family at home, and had a great time, and it was awesome. No Cal. I went out Wednesday, was talking to Dan Mullen, watched him go through practice. Love the message he had for the FSU game, which it played out. Had no idea because, I play on Saturday. I don't get to see all the games. The only game I really saw wire to wire that was a Gator game was Georgia. And it was frustrating for me to watch that. But other than that, I didn't even watch Florida State. I realized how bad they were. But Dan Mullen, I think, has us not only heading in the right direction, but he made a great point. And I don't know if he wants me to say this or not, but he said, Brady, if I told you Will Grier had 23 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, and 6 rushing touchdowns, what would you say? I say, that's pretty good. That's a pretty damn good year. And he goes, well, that's Felipe. And he goes, the fans are, they're never satisfied. And he goes, but he loves him. He loves Felipe Franks. And he loves Emory Jones, too. He thinks he has a great situation at the quarterback spot. He's done a tremendous job with Felipe, and I think he gets a little bit too much criticism, but that's the position of quarterback at the University of Florida, and Dan knows that. And what a tremendous job he's done. I hope they squeeze into the New Year's Six, and like I said before, buddy, and I told you this last year when we were doing radio, the key to this whole thing has been the off season. How he's changed the culture in the weight room, which makes it easier for the coaches to change the culture on the field.
Nick Savage, MVP probably, huh?
Yeah. And I tell my kids all the time, I said, look, here's Grimes or Cleveland or whatever, because they were watching the Mississippi State game. I said, here's these NFL first-round draft picks blocking on the perimeter. You got to block. You want to play for us, you got to block too. If these guys are willing to do it, and if Trevon Grimes is willing to block, or Tyree Cleveland, and I hope his collarbone gets better. But if those guys are committed to blocking, then it's easier for me to sell my kids to say, then how come you can't do it? And so, I think it's been a great year. It hadn't been a terrific year. I think we're pretty good, and I'm excited about the future of the program.
Well, no doubt about the fact it's been, I think, an outstanding year. And like you said, not a great year, but 9 wins. Everybody would have taken it when the season starts. And like you said, the way they won them and what games they lost, you never would have guessed that. And I think the program is in the right hands of the right man. I think we can now go forth, and the future looks very bright. A good recruiting class here and there. And, Brady, coaching, and, Wade Dan Mullen has brought his quarterbacks along historically. They always get better every year. And if this guy's Franks, and people have given him up for dead a couple of times, let's be honest, we thought he was kicked to the curb, whenever after the Missouri game, and Trask looked like he was ready to play until he got hurt. So there's something about fate and the Gators and this kid, Felipe Franks, somehow they're interlocked.
I've never been a fan, and you know that, buddy. I've never been all in on the Felipe. But what I will tell you, after visiting with Dan last week and watching him run practice, the kid is a completely different kid than when I saw a year ago. Understands how to run practice, understands how to check at the line of scrimmage, understands what's being asked of him by the offensive coordinator, understands what it means to be a leader. And those are qualities that, Florida hasn't had since Tebow left. I mean, we've had good quarterbacks, and they've gone on and been good players other places, whether it's Brissett or Driscoll or Murphy or any of these other guys, but they never had that quality. And Dan Mullen knows how to develop that quality. And to me, that was the most impressive thing. I mean, when I left practice Wednesday, I knew we were winning. I knew we were going to win big. And it had nothing to do with being motivated. It just had to do with, this team knows what they're doing. They know what the message is. And I would not be surprised if they play very well in the bowl game too, because Urban, as you know, traditionally is great in bowl games. I bet his bowl record is probably the best in college football. And I know Dan Mullen had always had his teams ready to play at Mississippi State in bowl games. I think he has a winning record. So whether Florida plays UCF, Penn State, or whoever, I'll promise you Florida will show up for their bowl game. They're not going to mail it in.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, we miss you around here. Miss you certainly on the radio and hearing you and all that stuff. But we're really thrilled for you that you that you got the job, and happy for Brandon. Hopefully, Brendan will be able to next year get a little action in, and looks like he's going to be playing for a good coach. And Grantham, Todd Grantham's got that defense going. It's exciting to watch, and I know we got a lot to talk about. So let's catch up again after the holidays and keep us up to speed. Anything you need to get to the work. Hey, you're getting a lot of love around here.
No, I'm happy. Let me just say this, buddy. I'm excited what you guys have done with the Scott Brantley Award. I'm excited with Buddy, what you've done with Gator Nation Kingdom. I know when I'm 65 and retire from coaching, and you're 95, that I can come join.
Hey, they're already saying now the Brady and Buddy show is back. There's people.
No. I'm done with the radio, buddy.
We're not doing
I
radio.
love coaching. I get up every day loving what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm so blessed, and I'm so happy. And the fans, the Gator fans, what's great about it, buddy, is I have all these followers on Twitter that are Gator fans that really only care about the Gator stuff, and they still follow me. They still compliment me after I tell them Jackson State beat Mississippi Valley State, and they don't give a dang about that. But they're always nice, and I love the Gator Nation. And I'm so excited of where my career is going right now, and I would never have dreamed it'd be like this a year ago, this quickly. And I'm very excited about it, and I'm looking forward to it. Maybe I'll get in the SEC someday and coach.
Hey, that would be great, and it would be. We'll take you out we can get you, but you're getting all kind of love around here from everybody. So, Robert Dodson says, one of the greatest Gator running backs of all time. Hey, you graduated up toward the great.
Touchdown.
You and Emmett, yeah. How many did you and Emmett score together? Emmett scored how many? Huh?
I had one touchdown. And the great thing is they say he's one of the greatest running backs of all time, because the older you get, nobody remembers anything. I scored that against Notre Dame on 2nd and 6 from our own 4, and I'm like 96 yards, buddy, down the sideline.
Wow.
There's still no video of that because we didn't have video back when I played.
Oh, man. We'll find it one day.
How's Brendan? What happened to the Prince? Is he done?
The Prince is taking a day job. He's in Chicago. He's been traveling a lot lately. He's been doing he's had to get a job that pays, so he actually traveled quite a bit. But I'll tell him you said hello, and we'll stay in touch with you. And like I said, a lot of folks saying, "Hey, Brady, love the Buddy and Brady show. Love you, Brady." And a lot of folks remember you, Brady. All the best. It's great to catch up, my friend.
There's no better alumni in America than the Gator Nation, and I'm proud to be a Gator. And I thank all of them for their support. And big things are coming for me, and just like they are for you, buddy. So,
listen. By the way, you're the comment. By the way, they're asking me if you know anything about Florida's bowl opponent. I know you haven't been following it too.
No, don't know nothing.
Yeah, there you go.
I just know they're going to lose, whoever it is.
The Gators, not to get the opponent, right?
No, the opponent's going to lose.
There you go. All right.
They're not going to beat the Gators.
All right, BA. Great to talk to you, brother. Take care.
Thanks, brother. See you.
Bye. Boy, it's good to hear his voice, isn't it? Yeah, it's really good to hear Brady's voice. And he's been wanting so bad to get back in this coaching, and he's back in now. And you can tell by the way he talks, the lilt in his voice. Okay, we got lots of stuff to cover. We're going to do this and get back in the game of talking to Kassidy. support G&K. We support them. We're going to be able to get some packages going for the bowl game, with some special prices. We'll tell you all about that coming up in just a minute. And also, while we're doing this, I want to be sure and tell you about the Grinders. I'm going down tomorrow. I'm excited about it because I ordered a beautiful new sport coat. And David called and said it's in. Came down. We had it tailored. They do all their tailoring right there, and it's looking great. And I will be in that sport coat tomorrow night at the Tuscaloosa Park at the Christmas event, and I'll be narrating the acts of the night before Christmas with the symphony orchestra and choir. That's going to be exciting. And so I got to look pretty good. So I went down to Grinders, as you see on the screen here. Those are some of the things you can get. My coat's not there, but tomorrow, whenever I get it, I'm going to put it on and I'm going to model it for you, okay? Meanwhile, if you need some kind of clothing for your man in your life for Christmas, this place you got to go. I mean, they got the good stuff. They got reasonably priced clothes. If you want to go higher, you can. But the thing about it is they get the quality stuff, and they make sure it fits you right, and they stand behind what they deliver. All the top brands you want. Go down to Ocala, go downtown 405 East Silver Springs Boulevard, and Brady Ackerman did it. I did it. All of us have done it over the years, and you love seeing one of those Grinders boxes under your tree during the holidays. So check them out. Grinders for Men, 405 East Silver Springs Boulevard in Ocala, and they are an Ocala tradition. They've been doing this for a while. So coming up in just a sec, we'll be talking to our friend Kassidy. Kassidy Hill is reporter for Inside the Gators, and she's been out doing a tour today. She said with some people and kids around the stadium, and we'll get her take on all things. I want to know about these Gator players who are going to be maybe leaving early. And whatever roster. I did a show today on SEC, the SEC Network, XM Sirius, with Chris Childers and Phil Savage, and we talked about what players may be leaving and what ones might be coming back, and so we I wasn't totally prepared for it, but I went down my list.
Please listen to all of the following options.
I think Kassidy sounds like she might not be available. Okay, let's do this.
Message with details about your.
Okay, Kassidy. Looks like Kassidy's tied up for a second. I'll use this moment to tell you about Center State Bank, and we'll go over some of the players that we think might be leaving early. There are only a few, but certainly the ones that you want to make sure you've that you're counted for. And I don't think it's going to be that damaging, although it depends on if both two running backs go out or one. You give us your list. Meanwhile, I'll tell you about Center State Bank. It's my bank. On the top left-hand corner is Center State Bank, and it's a beautiful building. And the building, second floor can be turned into an art gallery for special occasions, for weddings, et cetera, and they're all about community there. And you see what their slogan is: centered on community and customer service. And of course, they say, "You speak, we listen." And the folks there are really big into core values. They believe in long-term horizons on their finances and financial projections. They take you into consideration that you're a part of their family. They believe in faith and family. They believe in relationship banking. And, of course, they're driven by the local market. So if you need somebody like that to be your banker, you need to go see them. You can go online and check it out. There are a lot of locations. There are 82 of them in 30 Florida counties. And you can go to centerstatebank.com, pick one out near you. This is my bank that I go to here in Ocala. There's quite a few of them around. You'll see them everywhere around the state. And they are what they are. They say they are centered on community customer service, and they need it. They mean it. Center State Bank, centered on community and customer service. All right, coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk to Scott Carter, and we'll find out what's going on with what he knows about who's going to be coming out, and
listen to all of the following options.
Guy polite. So it sounds like Kassidy is having a problem here.
Details about your story or job. Or
all right, Kassidy, it's us. We'll call you back. All right. She must be working a story. Let's see what else we got on the docket. A lot of things to talk about tonight. Well, I'll say good evening to you folks while we're waiting. And thanks for all your comments. Boy, it sure was nice Well, thank you very much for that. A good time to put this comment up from our friend Keith Knorr, talking about what we did. We had an amazing night last night at the Ocala Quarterback Club. And for those who didn't see the information I posted earlier, Scott Brantley had knee replacement surgery today. He's doing well. He came home this afternoon, was scheduled to come home this afternoon. Scott was there with last night with us for the 4 finalists and the who will be for the Scott Brantley Award. And it was just such a special evening that everybody, I think, was really, really excited about it. And so I'm going to go ahead and put up a shot here that I wasn't going to put up, but he's with the Whittemores in this picture, Scott Brantley, and his coach, and Trent on your left, and his dad on the right, his coach Whittemore, and there's Scott in the chair, and they were there last night in honor of Trent being picked for Trent from Buchholz. So anyway, that was a special evening and something that we enjoyed doing, and that's what we're talking about with Keith Knorr. It was a special night last night. We can't wait. There's much more to come with things regarding the quarterback club, and we're going to have a big announcement soon about when it's going to be and where it's going to be and who's going to be involved. So thank you very much, Keith Knorr. Appreciate that very much. Okay. Cassidy said she didn't realize her phone was not on, so she says call back, so we'll do that right now. See if we can get a hold of her. So, yeah, it's quite a special evening. Sure, I'm glad Scott had the knee surgery, no problem, and that he's doing well. So let's see if we can just...
Hello?
That would be the voice of Kassidy Hill. 3 times is a charm. How are you, Cassidy?
Hey, buddy. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I got your voicemail a couple of times. I almost gave your number out on the air, so I hope I didn't do that. I tried to stop it from going on. It's all right.
My phone's on silent.
And it happens to me sometimes too. When I have to do, my friends get mad at me when I'm supposed to be on the show, and like in Colorado, I do a show, and they say, "Turn your phone on." Wait. So how you doing, Cassidy?
I'm good. Getting adjusted to this next couple of weeks without football.
I know. It's an adjustment. That is an adjustment. You go, and then all of a sudden you don't have to go out every day, and it's kind of nice in a way. But
all this time during the day.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So tell me about your thoughts on the ending of the season, and that we've not visited since the FSU game, and we're talking a couple of people today about. I was on the SEC show with Chris Childers and Phil Savage, and we're discussing how they did it and what Mullen did, and it turned out, I think, to be like Brady Ackerman said just now. I talked to Brady for the first time in a long time. It might not have been a great season in terms of if you look at it like Alabama or whatever, but it was a really, really terrific year, and given where they came from, I think it pretty much spectacular. What are your thoughts?
Exactly, and I think that the way they ended the game stretch there at the end was really impressive. And I know that it was against a South Carolina team that people want to like, but they trip up a lot. So basically, it's a South Carolina team that's not strong, and it was against Idaho, and it was against a 5-6 FSU team. But they did what they should have done against those teams, and what they have not done against those teams in the past few years. And, going out and beating Idaho, I don't even remember what the score was.
I don't either.
How ridiculous it was.
I don't either.
It was like 63-10, I think, or something like that. That's what you're supposed to do against those teams. And it just takes me back to a couple of years ago, when McElwain went to the SEC championship game his first season. And it was all a big hoopla, like, oh, his first season, blah, blah, blah. But that year, that year, when you have that cupcake team before FSU, I think it was like Louisiana Monroe. I can't remember exactly. I don't know if y'all remember, but Fly struggled against that team. It was their 10th win of the season, and I think they had to go right down to the wire to get it. And that was on a team that was still loaded with Will Muschamp's NFL defense, and they struggled to win that game. And those are the games you're supposed to win in the ways that Florida did this year. And they did the same thing against South Carolina. Coming back against South Carolina the way they did is one of the more impressive things I think the team did this season, because they could have gotten down on themselves. After Georgia, I think we kind of saw Missouri coming. And I think Florida fans are probably tired of playing Missouri for homecoming. But I think we kind of saw that coming after the Georgia loss. And after the Missouri loss as well, it was kind of like, well, here we go again, same old story. So to bounce back the way they did against South Carolina, that really showed the difference in the mindset of this team. And then to go out and do it against Idaho, and it really showed the difference in mindset of Felipe Franks, because he doesn't do that a year ago. He doesn't have the performance against South Carolina a year ago, and then to do it against Idaho, and then to do it against Florida State. The Florida State really, I said before the game, I was talking to one of the players' dads, and I said, it's going to be tight, but if they can get to a point where they can get up by 14, they can run away with it. And you kind of saw that happen. That Trey Grimes touchdown that made it 27-7.
Yeah.
I know Florida State scored again, but when Trey Grimes scored that touchdown, it was over. And you saw them kind of run away with it at that point. And so that 3-game stretch to end it, I know a lot of people think that's not enough to make them the number 9 team in the nation. It's not enough to send them to sure for the Year 6 Bowl. But they won when they were supposed to, how they were supposed to. And that's something Florida hasn't done the past few years. So these last 3 games have really, really said a lot about this team. And I think they ended the season. But they still have a bowl game. They can't slip up there. But they really ended this season the way they needed to go into next season. And it's got a lot of people excited, and understandably so.
I think you're right about that. I think there are several really, really good stories on this team, not the least of which is the maligned quarterback. Certainly, that's an amazing story. And Felipe Franks, a quarterback, you had to drive a stake in his heart to be able to get him to go away. He just couldn't do it. I mean, they couldn't get rid of him. And his gumption, he was the favorite whipping boy of fans, it seems like. And he had some bad games, and I defended him a lot. But in the end, after Missouri, I thought it's time for a change. Of course, we know the whole story with Kyle Trask. It's just meant to be. He was meant to be the quarterback. That's all there was to it, no matter what they did. So that certainly is a wonderful story. I think Wayne Mullen came in, and if you go back and reflect on it, and what he proclaimed he wanted to do with the offense, and what he asked for relentless effort, and the job he did with Nick Savage, and the development of players, and the fact that they played through their injuries, and at the end they were in better shape than their opponents, and they played well in the second half of the last regular season game, and they wanted it, and FSU did not. I think there are a lot of little good subplots. What was your favorite story of the year? You covered the team all year, and I know you had some insights to things that people you talked to about. But what was your favorite storyline, Kassidy, of the year?
Oh goodness, it's like a Sophie's Choice. Let me give you a couple here. I'm going to cheat. Let me give you a couple. To start with, one you already said, Felipe Franks' progress has been nothing short of incredible, and I know that the point he's to now may not be, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country or anything like that, but he's doing the things an SEC quarterback should be doing, and that was not the case a year ago. And maybe it's impressive relatively, but you can't help but be proud for him. And he was, like you said, he was the whipping boy for a lot of fans. He was the scapegoat for everything. And some of it deservedly so. He had a lot of rooms, a lot of places he needed to grow. And he needed someone to help him, to show him how to do that, which I think is what Dan Mullen has kind of done. Mm-hmm. And also, and this is not to take anything at all away from Dan Mullen, but one of the biggest things that helped Felipe this year was Van Jefferson coming in. And he because Freddie and Josh Hammond have done really well this year, and they've kind of gotten to that point where they can be that upperclassman reliable guy. But Van Jefferson was already there. And so now you have someone that's coming in that's making every other receiver step up their game, but he's also there to help the quarterback along because Felipe was still learning, and he had to not only still learn as an underclassman, but to do it in a brand new offense. And you had someone who was able to grasp it, who is ridiculously smart. I'm sure in life, but I really just look at it from the viewpoint of football. But he's ridiculously smart when it comes to football. He's one of the smartest route runners I've seen come through far in a long time. So he's always going to be in the right place, and that is a huge help for a quarterback. He's not going to have to worry. He just knows if he can get it there, his receiver can catch it. And so I think that, along with Mullen, has been one of the big things that helped Felipe. So I guess that's my sub point, because I got a little off track there.
Okay.
But to go back to Felipe, it's been an incredible transformation just to see him, one, grasp the offense, and then once he did, finally find that spark he had been looking for and marry those two together. And that's what we really saw right here at the last quarter of the season. You saw him. I'm going to go back to that Trey Grimes touchdown against FSU. Felipe got pushed out of the pocket. He's running to the right, and he sees something downfield that he likes, and he started directing Trey back to him. And so he's moving his receiver around there at that point. So he understood the offense, he understood the defense, and he realized that he had a guy down there that could make the play, and he could make the play out of the pocket as well. That was a lot of little bitty different things.
Yeah,
that individually,
you're right. It was a lot of little bitty things. You're right, exactly. That's what Mullen says. Give us a little more strain. Give us this. Make that that 4-yard run. It's important to us. Keep pounding and get that. Take the little bitty bites, as you say. We only got a little bit. We only have a little time because I've had problems getting a hold of you. But I want to get these two things in real quick. Give me number one. Give me your projection on the bowl. And let's talk for just briefly about the players that might come out.
Okay. I'll keep them both short for you. The bowl game, it's looking more and more like it's going to be the Peach Bowl just because they're going to most likely send UCF to the Fiesta. They don't want to send them to the Peach 2 years in a row. Mm-hmm. And the committee all but told UCF this past week, you're not going to play Florida because they're not going to send 2 Florida teams to Arizona. So it's looking like the Peach Bowl, and that's probably going to be Michigan, which I know Florida fans are like, ugh, I'm tired of Michigan.
Yeah. True.
Dream scenario, which I know it might be tough.
Sugar Bowl.
Dream scenario, Georgia beats Alabama. They both go to the playoffs, and Florida goes to the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
But who?
Then you got to draw Alabama. Poor Todd Grantham. Wow.
No.
I mean Oklahoma. Oklahoma. They got to draw Oklahoma, exactly. And that would be an all day. That would be. I don't think I want any part of that. Kyler Murray. Yeah. That kid is something else. I've got a new. Yeah, I've got a new name for him. The Sonic Hedgehog. I asked my grandson, 11-year-old grandson, who's the fastest character, in video games. He said, Sonic Hedgehog. I said, that's who that kid is, Kyler Murray. He's amazing. Yeah. I don't want any part of that. But, okay, give me this rundown. I got up to 5, maybe, players coming out, and we'll see. I'll give you my list. You tell me yes, no, yes, whatever. We already know that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's gone. Polite looks like he's
expected.
Yeah, it was expected. Polite looks like he's going to go. He's going to go for a first rounder, maybe. Looks like there. Right. So that's what they're projecting.
Polite reminds me a lot of Dante Fowler.
Yeah,
he very easily moves himself into the top of the first round.
Yeah, and then after that, you start guessing at a few. You don't know, but the running backs. I would maybe see Scarlett. I don't think P. Ryan would come out. What's your thought about that? You think?
Scarlett, I expect to be gone just based off different things he said here and there the past couple of weeks.
Right.
P. Ryan, he'll be back.
Yeah. Should be a featured back, in my opinion. He's something.
He'll be the number 1 back in the end. He's the leading rusher right now.
Right.
But P. Ryan will be back. I'd be shocked. I'd be more surprised if Scarlett came back.
Yeah.
I expect him to go.
So you really only see probably Zuniga would be the other one you wonder about. He might be 50-50. He could be a little heavier, maybe.
Yeah, Zuniga, I think, I see him waiting on his grade. He's probably going to get projected late third.
Right.
And it just depends. Does he want to go now as a late third, or does he want to come back a year and work himself into the first round? Because I think he can.
Right. Cassie, I got to run. I always love having you on. Appreciate it very much. And catch up to you before the holiday, the rest of the holidays. And thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, buddy. Have a good day.
All right. Kassidy Hill from InsideGators.com. She writes good stuff. If you haven't seen it or heard about it, she's a subscription-based thing, but she is very, very good. And she's thorough, and she works the beat really hard. And the more you actually get a chance to talk to her, the better you like her. I'm going to tell you real quick about Rinstar Medical Research. You see there's a Scott Brantley. One of the things they do, they support the Scott Brantley Award, Scott Brantley Trophy. Now you got me saying it. And, of course, Rinstar is a first-class medical research facility. If you haven't heard about it, it's one of the real gems of our community, and located in downtown Ocala. They got another office, I think, near Tampa. But they've got a proven reputation as a high-quality, patient-centered clinical research facility. They do research on things like this, from trials on Alzheimer's disease, psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, fibromyalgia, along with many other conditions that affect our community. They've been doing this a long time, since '98. They've have almost 700 clinical trials, and these studies are all regulated by the FDA, and safety is closely monitored, and make sure it's so closely, it's guarded, and they take every measure possible. Want to know more about the trials, or maybe you can be involved in them? You can call them in Ocala at 352-629-5800. You can go online to www.rinstar.net. Check out the information there. Rinstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
Job-related accidents create incredible stress on your finances, your relationships, and most importantly, your sense of well-being. When the adjuster is not approving benefits you're entitled to by law, you need Dan Hightower to help you understand all of your legal options. Daniel L. Hightower has been fighting for accident victim justice in Ocala and statewide since 1976. Call Daniel L. Hightower today to better understand all your legal options. 352-629-7777. Job-related accidents create incredible stress on your finances, your relationships, and most importantly, your sense of well-being. When the adjuster is not approving benefits you're entitled to by law, you need Dan Hightower to help you understand all of your legal options. Daniel L. Hightower has been fighting for accident victim justice in Ocala and statewide since 1976. Call Daniel L. Hightower today to better understand all your legal options. 352-629-7777. Job-related accidents create incredible
Scott Carter, and I misplaced it on my desk. We'll give Scott a quick call and talk to him about what he's got. He has some information, I know, on some of the players coming out. Scott is a long time. He's works for University of Florida Gators.com, and he's a writer and a former reporter for the Tampa Tribune. All around good guy, and we've asked him to come on the show tonight to enlighten us what he may know. He may know some information about the bowl, and he may not. We'll find out. I'm not sure what he can tell us about it. So let's see if Scott's there and available. We're a little bit late getting to him, but we'll find out if we got the right deal going here. So Scott Carter, been a busy night. Good to hear from Brady Ackerman, of course. Brady, we're so happy for him that he has been able to latch on there at his job and do what he's doing for Jackson State. So it's good dude, and good to have.
Hello, you reached Scott Carter at the University of Florida.
Okay, I don't think we're going to be able to get Scott tonight. Looks like we're not having a whole lot of luck tonight with our. I'll text him when we're waiting. So what's all going on with you folks tonight? A lot of UCF talk here, talking about Lynn Tyndall thinks UCF is going to lose. Well, it's certainly possible. Memphis has given them a hard time the last 2 years. Lucky to win. Now without Mackenzie Milton, it's going to be, and it wouldn't surprise me. It's been a wonderful year, and you feel kind of bad for it to end like this for these guys because they've had an incredible run. Josh Heifel stepped right in and took over and didn't miss a beat. In a way, I kind of want UCF to do well. Although I know a lot of people feel like they're a threat to recruiting in Florida, but hey, like Linda says, they might lose Saturday. They may lose Saturday. It's not a really great card. I went through it today online with Joe Williams. Joe Williams is, and we went through the picks. And I did a show today. I'm going to play part of it for you with our friends at XM Sirius SEC channel, and we talked about the games. And I said this, and some people are probably not going to agree with me. I'm not totally impressed with Georgia as an elite team. And let me explain that. You can come at me if you want to. But the program and the season are a little different. And what I'm talking about more is an elite program. A terrific year, borderline great season. Don't know if you can call it great if you don't win a championship. Lost that one game, of course. They're better on defense. Their quarterback play got infinitely better the last few weeks than Jake Fromm. Well, let me see if I can find it here. I'll play what I said and see if we can cue it up here and let you hear part of it. Hold on one second. See if I can get you the information. This is what it went like. I enjoy doing this show with these guys. We've done it now a couple of weeks, and
he could get a little stronger. He's so quick.
Terry talking about Zuniga.
And I don't have my list in front of me, but there will be 3 or 4 at least coming out early.
What about the running back, Scarlett and P-Ryan?
This is Phil Savage.
Wait to see about Scarlett. That seems to be the one that people are talking about. I did my show last night with a couple of beat writers, and we talked about Scarlett, and both of them could go. But the thinking right now is that Scarlett probably will, and P-Ryan might not. P-Ryan needs to be a featured back, in my opinion. He played quite a bit, and but I think he needs to be the back. Scarlett's a bigger guy. He's got good speed. He doesn't have the breakaway ability that P-Ryan does. And they've got, of course, behind him a young guy, Pierce, who's really quite a promising guy. So my guess is that, I'm just guessing right now, Phil, I'm guessing Scarlett goes and maybe P-Ryan doesn't.
Okay, here it comes.
Buddy Martin show. All right, dude. I know you're an SEC guy. You cover the Gators. I know the Gators aren't playing in Atlanta this weekend, but still, I got to get a pick. What do you think, Bama and Georgia?
And I just did a show in Denver I do every week after those guys, and we talked about that. And all credit due to Jake Fromm for his improvement, no question about it. But try as I may, I cannot put Georgia in the elite class. They're an excellent, outstanding football team with an improved play at quarterback. Their defense is somewhat better. Their offensive line has gone through some injuries. The running game is certainly, Swift and Holyfield are really right up there among the best, but they're not in Alabama's league, in my opinion, so far. That's not to say they won't turn the tide. No, yes, pun intended, when they go out there. But I think right now, to my mind, that Georgia is not quite up to the level of Alabama. And I like Alabama to win the game. Tua to throw about 9 touchdown passes, by the way, which will make my Heisman ballot a little easier. I'm sitting there thinking I got to at least look at Kyler Murray. I mean, don't you have to at least look at him? I mean, he's like that character. Was it on the Sonic Hedgehog on the video games? Is so fast. I mean, I'm going to go. I'm going Georgia. I'm going Alabama here. I'm laying the points if I was a gambler, and I'm not. I like Alabama as one of the greatest football teams of all time, and they got to finish the job, and I think they will.
Wise man, Buddy Martin of the Buddy Martin Show. I love talking to you, dude. Thanks for the time, as always, and the insight. Let's talk soon. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, dude,
All right, it's Chris Childers. talking about on today's show. So, yeah, so it's so ironic that Florida benefits in such a great way by not going to this game. I mean, it could work out even if Georgia loses. Georgia could wind up going to the playoffs. I'm not so sure about that, especially if Oklahoma blows out Texas. I don't think Ohio State winning big over Northwestern is enough to convince the committee. But if they roll out there and they blow Texas out by 3 touchdowns, and Kyler Murray has another one of those days, like Sonic Hedgehog, you're going to have to, even without a defense, you're going to have to rethink that Oklahoma team. And I would hate to be the defensive coordinator who has to go up against them. So that's coming into play. Am I an SEC guy? Yes. Would I want to see 2 SEC teams in the finals? Yeah. But, I mean, look, I'm telling you, one game can influence a lot of people. I mean, Ohio State wasn't even in the conversation. Now Ohio State is in the conversation, but probably not enough unless some things happen and they win huge over Northwestern. So, bad cold today. I don't know about you, but at my house we're all got it bad. So I'm wiping my nose as we're talking. So, SEC championship game. We know there's been some great matchups, certainly with Georgia and Alabama, and certainly in championship games, what have you. And look, here's how I look at it. The best team in the country, without question in my mind, is Alabama. The best coach in the country by far, and the best coach of all time, I have to admit, although I'm still hanging in there with Bear Bryant a little bit, is Nick Saban. And you got the best quarterback. Although I will say this, on my Heisman ballot, which I'm now starting to dig out, I am going to bring to the conversation at least one other guy, maybe 2. Even though it's doubtful I'll vote for either except second or third, I've got to put Kyler Murray's name on that ballot someplace. And maybe Haskins too. We'll see. But not second. It's a 1-2 deal. Tua is the best. And he hasn't had his best game yet. He's had 3 quarters here and there. So when I get down to it, I think elite program, best coach, best quarterback, etc., improved team, better defense, quarterbacks playing better, good running backs. But when you evaluate the talent, and you tell me if I'm wrong about this, this is how I feel. When you evaluate the talent, you look at last year's team, Georgia, with all those number 1 draft picks, those great running backs, etc., and you think, how can you be as good without them? You can't be. And they're not as good, although their defense is somewhat better, but they have had issues in the offensive line. Little sneeze in there. They have had issues in offensive line with injuries. So right now, I'm going to leg the 13.5 points, although I don't bet. If I did. And, yeah, could happen. Could happen, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a Alabama win, and I think they'll more than cover. So, that's that. A few thoughts from you guys out there. Jack Campbell says, yes, late Tom? I don't know what it says. It says late Tom the show. I don't know what that means. Out back drinking some Camu. Okay, I'm not sure what that's about. I must have missed something. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Malik Davis is also coming back, and if his surgery works out, and apparently from what we've heard so far, we haven't any reason it hasn't. Recruiting is all about recruiting. I talked to some people today about improving our recruiting coverage. We intend to continue with some of the people we've had on in the past and even upgrade it. We got a possibility of a couple of people collaborating on a high five each week on the top recruits because it's coming fast. It's all about that. Then Alexander wants to know if they'll make it to the playoffs next year. You mean next year or this year? Not going to make it this year. No. No, not this year, as David points out. Not going to make it this year. I mean, look, if they somehow get to the Sugar Bowl, I kind of don't want them to go to the Sugar Bowl. Is it just me? Because I hate to see them go play Oklahoma and get their doors blown off. And it could happen by that team in the end of the year like that. I'm not in love with playing Michigan in the Peach Bowl, and I don't want to play UCF right now in the Fiesta. Because I don't want to travel. I don't want to travel. I don't want to. Many people want to go to Arizona and play UCF, as you heard Brady talking about, and also with Kassidy. It's just a natural fit to go up the road to Atlanta, a place we all know so well, and have a little tailgate party on the way up there, and fly our flags and honk our horns, and do it up there. On the second Steve Spurrier Urban Meyer Field, but although it's a new stadium. So, stuff's killing me right now. Yeah, I got you, Jack. I hear what you're saying there. Yeah, Hunter, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Hunter Turner. Hunter, I just took 2 vitamins C. Just took them. In fact, took through this morning. Hunter Turner, there he is. And he, by the way, is your new reporter for the Apollos. Orlando Apollos. I talked to Hunter today. I talked to Coach Spurrier this morning, and I told him to look out for our guy. Look out for our guy, Hunter. He'll be there, and Hunter will be. So I think it's going to be a fun time, fun league, etc. And thank you, Hunter, for looking in on me, buddy. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Richard. I understand the payday. And I get that. Now, it's all good, and I realize it's about the money. But does it have to always be about the money? I mean, the Florida program is not doing a GoFundMe. They've got plenty of money right now. All right? They always want more. I get it. Excuse me. They always want more. But $12 million would be nice, and it'd be great. Lynn, I don't do Z-Packs, although I do have my doctor prescribes them sometimes. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm not a big antibiotic fan, but I'll get better. I'll be fine. So here we are tonight. Got about 8 minutes to go. If you have any thoughts to share, please do. We're going to try Scott Carter one more time. I doubt if he's there, and we'll call it a day on him and see if he's got a few thoughts to share. Meanwhile, hope you're going to got big plans coming up for the holidays. We're going to be staying home, not traveling, which is always good. That's how I enjoy my Christmases at home more than ever because I just like being here. Got the dog and the children, the grandchildren, etc. Scott's not going to answer. So, all right, just to recap. Tomorrow morning, we got our show, Football Friday. We will have Zach Alverdi, who was usually on Thursdays, but tonight couldn't come on because of a conflict, and get his take on some recruiting issues. And see what else he's got in terms of his ideas about who's coming out early. And we'll talk to Franz. Franz was at the event on the Friday night, on Wednesday night. I just can't stress what a great night it was at the Quarterback Club. It's just a special night. I'm so glad Scott's going to be okay. That's good to know. He had his knee surgery, and he didn't want to have to take that he didn't want to be put under if he could help it, so he had a spinal. And that's good. That's great. Mary texted me today. Let me just do this before I wrap it up and tell you about Mark's Prime. I'm hungry anyway. Right about now, I could use this steak. Let's say feed a cold, starve a fever. Well, if I had a night to go out, if I had one night to go out in one place right here, that's where I'd go. Mark's Prime in Ocala, Gainesville. I've been there many times. I love the building. I love the lounge they got on the side. Love the food. Love the service. It's one of my very favorite restaurants anywhere. And that's just 2 dishes. There have many others. The shrimp scampi on the left, and of course the wonderful filet on the right. That's what you call a filet right there. Some of you have eaten there. You know what it's about. If you haven't, I suggest you make it a point to make a reservation. Don't try to do it all in the holidays because they get kind of busy. But if you call early enough, you might get in. You can call them in Gainesville at 336-0077, Ocala 402-0097. They do have complimentary valet parking. And their goal is to make it a unique dining experience for you. The food, they want to, and all the great chefs I've talked to, the French, they talk about the palate. And it's because the palate, everybody's food tastes different. I learned this talking to a few French chefs I know that taste differently to you and me. Pretty much everything tastes great at Mark's, but it is all about their experience. And they have terrific wine selection. They have fresh seafood that's good at beef you can eat anywhere. Fresh vegetable. You heard me talk about my sauteed spinach. I do love that. So if you haven't been there, it's an experience. You should try Mark's Prime Steakhouse and Seafood. Again, located in Ocala and Gainesville. Go online, marksprimesteakhouse.com, and find out more about that. And check out their gift cards. It's a good deal. You're going to get quite a discount for getting a gift card. So Mark's, it's a unique dining experience and a great place to go. And one more, I want to thank these people here for supporting the Ocala Quarterback Club. Two of my friends, Dr. Frank Cannon, Ocala Orthopedic, and Danny Williams and Danny Williams Appraisal Team. They've been great supporters of this quarterback club, which has had a renaissance. We're all very happy about what's going on there right now, especially with the Scott Brantley Trophy. You can talk to Franz Beard. He was there on Wednesday night. It was a great evening, and we're doing good things to the community, and we're celebrating football, past, present, and future. We're not done. There's a lot more coming, and we're very excited about what we're able to do in the community and to get band together. So it's been a great experience so far. So, all right, let's go back and talk to a couple of you on your comments, and then we'll wrap this show up tonight. And I'll go back and get myself some medication of some kind. Let's see what we got here. Lynn is always active. Let's see. Lynn says, who would like to see UF Ohio State in a bowl? Interesting. That would be very interesting. Huh. Not likely to happen because the Big Ten commitment to go to the Rose Bowl. And that's, of course, they lost to Northwestern. Then maybe they'd do something else. I don't know that Urban would want to do that, but you never know. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. It'd be fun to see Urban versus his pupil. It's funny to me that all the people who hate Urban Meyer so badly forget that Dan Mullen trained under him, was his GA. They forget that. Yeah, I think that would be kind of fun to think about. I don't want to see. I really don't want to see UCF right now. I feel badly for them and losing their quarterback. And if you beat them, so what? They'll say, well, we didn't have our star quarterback. So that's one of the things. And, yeah. So looking forward to the bowl season. Looking forward to seeing where Florida goes. And, again, some of you have expressed an interest, and I'll say this before I say goodnight, in possibly tailgating up to Atlanta for the Peach Bowl. And even if we don't have tickets. If you have an interest, be sure you PM somebody like Nat or Lynn or whatever and see. It may not be an organized thing, but it might just be a kind of a bunch of caravan up there and meet someplace, get a hotel. And even if you don't go to the game, you can party together, maybe have your own indoor bar there someplace. So if there's any interest in that, check it out. I'm also going to find out more information about whether or not Old Florida Sports Bar is going to be able to provide some kind of a Road Warrior pack for us, some flags and such. So, G&K, we always just sort of do it at the last minute. And if there's an interest in that, please let us know. We'll talk about it. Meanwhile, football Friday tomorrow morning. Hope you'll join us for that. And then we'll take the weekend off and start over again on Monday and start counting it down. I'm going to say goodnight to you a little bit early, like a minute or so. So I can get back there and get some of this Joni's good chicken soup. And get a couple of Advil or so for the band tonight, whatever it take, cold medicine, whatever it may be, and say good night and thanks for watching.